2024 really has been a year for resurrecting dead IPs with sequels and remakes that nobody really asked for or wanted, whether it's possibly forgettable, popcorn, movies like Twisters, noble failures, like Alien Romulus, or absolute garbage. Like The Crew, it really has been a mixed bag of successes and failures this year, but which one is Beetlejuice 2? Does it do justice to the classic 1988 original, or is it just another embarrassing attempt to milk an old IP for a quick profit? Well, weirdly enough, I think it's a bit of both as a sequel to the original movie. It's a decent enough effort. That makes his Tim Burton's usual gothic fairy tale style with over-the-top visual gags to deliver. Something that's pretty unique in modern cinema. Michael Keaton hasn't missed a beat in 35 years, and slips right back into the role of Beetlejuice, like it was yesterday. Well, Jenna Ortega provides a nice deadpan counterpoint this sparks well off him. There's some decent moments and gags, and plenty of little callbacks to the original than others. Not being said, the movie suffers from a cluttered script that's way down by far too many characters and subplots, and doesn't seem to know who or what to focus on. Far too much time is wasted on a character who isn't even in the movie, and in terms of actual performance, well, let's just say that some of the actors have aged better than others. Anyway, I've dicked around with my intro long enough. Let's get this review underway properly. Quiet barbers say it Beetlejuice. So the movie kicks off in the present day, where Lydia is now a successful talk show host specializing in the paranormal. Oh good, you might think, except that she's addicted to prescription meds, estranged from our daughter, Astrid, controlled by her manipulative boyfriend, and anti by visions of B.O.J.'s. Things didn't go from bad to worse when she finds out that her father Charles was killed in a plane crash, and saw the family converges on their old home and Winter River for the funeral. This is where Astrid meets the suspiciously nice and well-adjusted local teenager named Rory, and quickly falls head over heels for him. Unfortunately, she eventually discovers that he's actually a ghost that only she can see. And the only way that they can be together is if she crosses over into the afterlife to bring him back to the real worlds. But when you know it was all a trick so that he could swap places with her. This forces Lydia to summon Beetlejuice for help, but only on the condition that he gets to marry her. When this is all over, because he's also on the run from his vengeful ex-wife, who wants to suck the soul out of his body or something. Oh yeah, and while doing some stupid ritual or husband's grave, there's also a dead movie star acting as a paranormal police detective. A jealous boyfriend, pulling strings behind the scenes, and the escape of a bunch of employees from the afterlife to deal with. So if you haven't guessed it by now, there's quite a lot going on in this movie, and not all of it is good or necessary. And I think really this is one of the film's biggest problems. There's so many subplots and different characters that most of them don't get anything like the attention they need. Monica Bellucci, she's Dolores's built up as the big antagonist of the movie, but she's barely on screen for more than 30 seconds at a time before the action jumps somewhere else. And it got to the point where I kind of forgot she was even in the film after a while. Willem Dafoe hams it up in a role that doesn't have any clear purpose in the story and just kind of exists for its own sake. He has like one gag that he keeps playing over and over, and honestly, it stopped being funny after, like, the first time. There's also a subplot about Lydia's ex-husband, who died, which is so undermentioned. And so, the big payoff near the end falls flat, because I've never even seen the guy before. Also, it's completely overwritten by the death of Charles, which functionally does exactly the same thing in terms of character motivations, and eats up a shit ton of screen time in the process with basically no payoff. Because let's just say the actor turned out to be a very bad person. In the real worlds, the original movie was tight and efficient at just over 90 minutes long, with every scene in character contributing something to the story and not a moment of screen time wasted. Beetlejuice 2, on the other hand, feels bloated and chaotic, struggling under the weight of too many ideas and extraneous subplots, unable to decide on a core narrative to focus on, and taking way too long to get going. Shit, man. Even Beetlejuice himself doesn't really show up and force until like 40 minutes into the movie, and that's where it actually comes alive for the first time. Michael Keaton might be well into his 7 East by now, but holy shit, you'd never know it. The guy's just as high energy and over the top as he was 35 years ago, his pitch perfect. And every moment that he's on screen is a joy to watch. He's neatly balanced out by Jenna Ortega, who delivers her usual deadpan performance, but always seems to know just when to drop in little moments of humanity and vulnerability portraying a teenage girl. He's kind of lonely and trying to reconnect with their family. Instead of just being a carbon copy of Lydia from the first movie on that subject though. Well, it's nice to see Winona Ryder going through a career resurgence. Fuck me. Somebody really should have gotten her to re-watch the original movie because she now talks and acts like a completely different character. Yeah. She's got the same stupid hairstyle and there's a superficial attempt to make her look and dress the same, but Ryder plays are more like Joyce from Stranger Things than Lydia from the first film. There's a vague hint that maybe she's going through a midlife crisis and is trying to rediscover her old self, but like so many other storylines in this movie, it's not given enough time and attention to actually get the audience invested in Jesus Christ. Bringing Catherine O'Hara Black for this film was a huge fucking mistake. Not only the narrative accepts to make stupid decisions of every opportunity, but she delivers the kind of hysterical, scenery, truant performance that makes Nick Cage look like a model of subtle restraint. Yeah, I know. Delia is meant to be some kind of wacky, New York socialite, but damn man. She was never this bad in the original. You could honestly have cut her and her stupid subplot with Charles out of the entire film and would have lost nothing of value. Ultimately, despite some decent visual effects, solid direction and fun performances by a cast, the mostly